You see them in practice videos, training camp all the time. Now you're going to start seeing them in games. It's those little, they almost look like bubble wrap. It's a Prospector Show on Rock 107. And Kate, you mentioned this to me the other day.
Yes, I did. NFL players can now wear Guardian caps, those extra padded covers on their helmets on game day.
And they look like a little wild at first, but
they look a little intense, but safety first. Like, I think it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Colts tight end Kalen Granson made headlines for deciding to wear the protective Guardian cap over his helmet for extra head protection this season. And in a new Instagram video, he explains why he's doing it.
Yeah, he said, quote, anything I could do to mitigate any sort of brain injury or, you know what? Why am I telling it?
Yeah,
he said he did an Instagram video.
Any sort of brain injury or long-term health effects that would be detrimental to me takes precedent. As someone who wants to have kids someday, I want them to also know that, hey, Dad isn't just telling you to be safe. He also was safe when he played. Like, he did everything that he could to protect his head, to protect his brain, to protect his long-term health. I'm going to get married this coming year. I want to be able to remember our first dance 30 years from now. I want to be able to remember my first kid's steps. I want to be able to be there at their first day of school.
I really commend him for, doing that. Granson also said studies have found that Guardian caps reduce concussion rates by a significant margin.
That is no small thing. NFL players, you got to think of all the repeated, and it's not just the big hits you see where you're like, oh my God, it's like the little tiny ones. Every play, helmet hits another helmet, helmet to shoulder pad, helmet hits the ground. All those kind of things add up. So I am all for it too. They look odd, but I'll get used to that. All right, if it can save somebody from getting hurt, let's do it, even if they do look like some kind of space robot on the field. Kevin Hart hasn't given a reason for why his chain of vegan restaurants abruptly closed, but the most obvious answer is because it was a chain of vegan restaurants. Osama bin Laden's son is reportedly running Al-Qaeda now. Seriously, anyone else sick of these Nepo babies?
It's 60 Minutes meets Gone in 60 Seconds. Tune in tomorrow for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107. Life ain't easy, especially if you're like Prospector.
Why is he such a jerk to everybody?
He struggles in his day-to-day encounters and often ends up asking himself, am I a jerk? On Rock 107.
Am I a jerk at the grocery store checking out? At the beer checkout. The line tends to move quicker there, and I just had a couple items. There's a woman in front of me, and she's just chatting up the whole time. Then, as she's ending her transaction, she's still BSing with the clerk. So as soon as she was finished, and I mean within milliseconds of her getting the receipt in her hand, I dropped my stuff all onto the counter in front of her so she'll stop talking and I can check out. So my question to you, Kate, does that make me a jerk?
I'm saying yes, it does make you a jerk, Prospector.
Really? Why?
The passive aggressiveness was unnecessary.
Okay, I thought it was more aggressive than passive aggressive, but okay, that's fine. I just wanted her to know it's time to move now. You're done. I have to check out.
Patience, my friend.
Yeah.
Patience.
What do we got on the social medias? Who's with me? Who's against me?
Tom on my Facebook says, you're a jerk, Prospector.
How could that happen?
Ha!
All right.
Tara, and don't worry, not your wife, from your Instagram said, no, you are a savage and I love it.
Yes. Someone
has to put these people in their place.
Thank you for agreeing with me, Tara.
That could be your wife.
It's definitely not my wife. She would never use the word savage. That's why I know it's not her. Got one from Open Mic on the Rock 107 app. Am I a jerk?
You seem to have trouble waiting in line. Your friendly neighborhood dispensary can take care of that for you.
I love that suggestion.
No, here's what I like. Here's your problem. Here's a possible solution for you. I think that's awesome. Thank you for offering a solution.
I love that. Dan from my Instagram said, nope. You should have added, hey, why don't you get her number and you can chat with her when she's done with work?
Yeah!
That would have been even worse. Al from your Facebook says, yeah, you can't wait a second or two? How impatient are you?
Incredibly impatient, especially when it comes to being in a store. Do you think I just want to hang out there? I got stuff to do. I got a couch to sit on. TV's not going to watch itself, for crying out loud. Let's check in Open Mic. Greg, am I a jerk here?
You're a jerk if you use the beer line without buying anything alcoholic. I run in to grab a six-pack, but Chubby Checker is holding up the line with food items. Jerks.
Now, it's not only an alcohol line. It says alcohol may be purchased at this register. So it's not only an alcohol
I'm agreeing
line.
with them.
Yeah, whatever.
Michael from your Facebook says, no, it isn't a psychiatrist's office.
That's right. Thank you for that, Michael. So in the question today of am I a jerk for sticking my hands in front of this woman and dropping all the groceries on the counter just as she was getting her receipt to kind of stop her from BSing so I could get on with my day. The answer, according to you, Northeast PA, and by a decent margin, is no, I am not a jerk.
Of adequacy. It's Prospector
Yes, fine, he'll do.
on Rock 107. Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
For 30 years, 3 people in Michigan have been pooling the money that they made from recycling cans to play the lottery. And it just paid off big time. They matched 5 balls in the Mega Millions and took home a cool $1 million.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
Hi. You probably don't know me, but odds are you feel bad for me. You see, I'm Prospector's wife, Tara. I know what you're thinking. Oh, that poor woman. The truth is, he's the sweetest guy. Most of the time. But when he starts rambling, yeah, you have no idea. It's actually far worse than you can imagine. Here's a little taste of my world. It's time for Prospector's Picky Pet Peeves on Rock 107.
I got a letter in the mail the other day, and there was a page wrapped around the letter, and printed on that page was a note. It read, "This page intentionally left blank." And my first thought was, well, no, it's not. You printed that on that to tell me it was a blank page. How about you just tell me that in the next page? Or how about you just don't tell me at all, and I'll figure out it's blank by myself. But you certainly didn't leave the page blank.
Seriously?
Speaking of signs, I see this in toilets all the time in businesses. Don't flush anything but toilet paper. Excuse me, what about the excrement? I'm most certainly flushing that in your toilet.
Nobody cares.
And one final sign I see all the time that goes right through me. ATM machine inside. And I know I've talked about this before, but somebody still doesn't get it, so I'm going to talk about it again. ATM stands for automatic teller machine. An ATM machine would somehow dispense ATMs. If you have one of those, I want it.
Good Lord. You think that was bad? Try living with him. Love you, honey. Mean it.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab the kids, call your neighbors, and gather around the radio.
It's now time to announce the winner of Prospector's Jam Bag of the Day, as decided by you at rock107.com.
We uncover the most baffling, ridiculous, pathetic, cockeyed, laughable, preposterous blunders in the world of misdeeds. Nominee number 1.
Here's what a well-thought-out plan looks like. A 45-year-old guy near Detroit is facing charges after rigging his car with a fake bomb to keep the repo guy away. Police in Harrison Township, Michigan, say the guy knew his car was about to be repossessed, so he made it look like it would explode if anyone moved it. He put a propane tank in the passenger seat with wires running from the regulator to the car's center console, strapped the second tank to the driver's side wheel with copper wires running underneath the car. And just to make sure there was no confusion, he put a cardboard sign in the windshield that said, "Don't move the car, it will blow up." Someone called the cops and the bomb squad showed up, evacuated the whole neighborhood. Turned out it really was not a working bomb, despite his best efforts. The guy's car ended up being taken away. Now it's not clear if it got repoed or impounded by cops. He's facing a felony charge for representing or presenting a device as an explosive. He could get up to 5 years in prison for it.
Nominee number 2.
Tow truck drivers are probably prepared to deal with some attitude, especially in New York City. I doubt anything this extreme, though. A 55-year-old man was arrested after he went on a warpath when someone put his pickup truck on a tow truck. He ran up, threatened the driver, hopped in and stole the tow truck with the truck loosely attached to the back. As he was making his getaway, his truck, which still had an open door, was slamming against multiple cars parked along the street, damaging all of them and ripping the driver's side door off his truck. Then he made a wild turn, which caused the truck to break free, rolled over into the traffic coming from the other direction. Despite all the carnage, no one was seriously injured. He was hit with multiple charges, including robbery, grand larceny auto, reckless endangerment, leaving the scene of an accident, and 11 counts of property damage.
And the winner is
the guy who strapped a fake bomb to his car to keep it from being repoed. You're the Yam Bag of the Day, and we'll move on to Friday's Yam Bag of the Week competition. Keep it here for all the nominees for Prospector's Yam Bag of the Day, weekday mornings on Rock 107. Thanks for listening to Prospector's Prime Cuts podcast. Be sure to catch us live weekdays from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Rock 107 or online at rock107.com or the Rock 107 app, a free download for your Android or iPhone. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.